Kia ora. Good evening, good afternoon, good evening. I'm losing track of time, which is, well, I mean, I'm a time jumper, so you know that happens a lot. I just wanted to make this video because I think people are confused about ascensions and like this term that everyone throws around about being the chosen one. I don't think people understand being a chosen one and having an ascension isn't like applying for a job where it's like, you know what, I think I'm going to have an ascension. And an ascension is not the same as a spiritual awakening. Spiritual awakenings are what you have on your own. They're what you know, it's like a form of self-discovery where you become more one with the world and you become more harmonious and in tune with the planet, and all the people are the same vibration, and you know, you become more self-aware and at peace with oneself. With an ascension, you're literally put through hell to see if you'll survive it. Literally put through hell to see if you'll survive it. And if you do survive it, then you're chosen to ascend. You're chosen to ascend. You are handpicked by God and your ancestors and the Council of Elders to go, they're holding up remarkably well. This could be someone that we could use here. So we're going to do this and see what happens. Then we're going to put them through this and see what happens. And when you survive it, and the stronger you become, the more powerful you become, because you start stepping into your gifts and abilities, because they see something in you that is worthy of saving. They see something in you that is worthy of sharing with the world. And when you go through an ascension, it is literally a supernatural process. I know people are freaking out how my looks have changed, how my attitude has changed, like how nothing about me is the same from what I was a few months ago, last year, the year before, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 50 years ago. That's the point of the ascension. God performs miracles in one's life in full view of everybody else to say, I'm real. And this is all real. And when you have faith in me and you follow my path and you don't question what's happening and you walk this path in faith, I'm going to perform a miracle in your life that is going to just like bewilder everybody around you. People are studying me within an inch of my life, trying to figure out who, what, where, why, how. That's the point. That's why it's supernatural. That's why an ascension is a miracle of God. He takes the heathens, he takes the wretched souls, he takes the non-believers, the sinners, the immoral, the, you know, the crude, the uncouth, the heathens, that, you know, he takes you, he puts you through hell to see if you've got what it takes. And when you come out the other side, he then ascends you. You have to be the one to walk through the fire. You have to be the one to get yourself out of the darkness. You have to be the one to get yourself out of hell. And then he ascends you. He raises you up so that your story can be his testimony. So now everybody's looking at me going, what the hell is she? I'm an ascended being. I'm the chosen one. And not everybody gets chosen. It says, you know, many are called, few are chosen. So a lot of people are given the opportunity to have ascensions, but few are chosen to actually ascend, because most of them give up when they're put through hell because it's too hard for them. They'd rather just keep drinking and keep eating unhealthy and keep being around toxic people and keep living lives that are destructive and, you know, serve no purpose for their spiritual development because it's too hard for them to have to do the work on themselves. So they stay in the underworld for the rest of their lives, like my ex, or they end their lives, which is a very common with high functioning creative empaths. Addictions, fetishes, self harming, suicide, like, ending your life, that sort of thing, when it's too hard to walk through the fire, the trial by fire. When it's too hard, they give up and then they stay down there. But when you ascend, you won't get my powers, you get your own. God promises that when you master the 7 virtues and add hope and faith, He bestows upon you supernatural powers. Mine are mine. Yours will be yours. And you can't fake an ascension because you can't fake an ascension glow. An ascension glow is utterly mesmerizing to those who witness it, because the ascension glow, you're standing in God's light, and when you are in the presence of God, you glow. And it is that glow that draws the devils and demons out from the underworld, who become obsessed with wanting to feed off your light by mimicry, or they want to squash your light, because they don't want anybody else to have it. If they can't have it, you can't have it. And then if they get it because it's their partner, then they want to cover you up so nobody else gets to see your light. And that's not what happens when you're an ascended being. When you're an ascended being, you become the master of what it is God has created in you, and then you are expected to be the master and teach it to those who resonate with what it is that you're teaching. I am not for everyone. When you are an ascended being, when you are chosen, you are not for everyone. You're not Jesus. You're never going to be the second coming. He's for everyone. That's His role. We pave the way and get people prepared for what's coming in the new world. And with me, it's basically tearing down everything you thought you knew about religion and spirituality and the cult, and building it back up again, so that by the time He arrives, because He's not going to be anything like He was 2,000 years ago, you're ready for Him. And then it's not hard for Him to exist in this world, because unlike the last time, everyone around Him will be on the same page. There is a chosen one for every deed that God needs you to fulfill in His name. I'm a dark angel. I go down into the underworld to save souls who are struggling to pull themselves back out, who have been earmarked for an ascension. But you have to put in the effort. I'm not going to do all the work for you. You have to put in the effort to meet me halfway. Otherwise, I have to walk away and leave you down there to, like, I've given you the answers. You know what to do. You can either reach out and take my hand and step into the light, and then, let me walk alongside you during your ascension, so I can explain the whole process to you. Or you can piss about, dilly-dally and be all 1 foot in, 1 foot out, or I don't know, prove yourself. I can't handle what you've proven to me. Oh, I need you to prove a little bit more. Oh, no, this is too much. Like, I can't be dealing with that. I don't have time. Because there's plenty of other people out there that need saving, that would be grateful for the fact that you've literally been given your own dark angel. Not everybody in this world that goes through an ascension is going to be given a dark angel to come down and get you every time you fall down into the underworld. And it happens a lot. Until you've mastered your ascension, once you get to the creation frequency and you get to stay there, like now I do, even when I have things happen that would ordinarily send me into the underworld, I'm up and out within hours, because I understand the process. I know what's going on and why it's happening. And people are astounded at how strong I am, but you have to understand that's exactly what it means to walk in faith. When you walk with God on your side, when you walk with faith that God and your ancestors and the council of elders and that have got your back, regardless of whether you're down to your last penny, whether you have no electricity, whether you can't even afford to wash your clothes, whether you have everybody in your life walk on you, walk all over you, betray you, walk away, whatever, that faith teaches you that it's happening for a good reason and that it is not up to you or anybody else to decide the trial that God puts you through. Everything that happened to me, I deserved to go through in the eyes of God. So, good or bad, it was all to make me this person that people seem to be freaked out by. And yet all I've done is just walk in faith, and that's it, and master my skills and master quantum magnetics and try and save a king and a president and all of that with what it is I can do, because I've mastered quantum magnetics now. I get to walk in the creation frequency 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I can just tap in, like it's just boom. It's just, I walk with God constantly. And when you walk with God constantly, nothing phases you. When stuff happens, you'll say to yourself, okay, so what's the lesson I need to learn in this? And once you figure it out, it's like, okay, well, fair enough. As long as I've got this and as long as I've got that, like, whatever. I deserved everything I got according to God's word and what I needed to go through and what I needed to learn and what I needed to pay off in order to be what it is I am now. The woman who was sitting here fighting to defend a king that a few years ago she couldn't have given two shats about, for a God I didn't believe in, that I was fighting to prove wasn't real. But that's why ascensions are a supernatural experience. See, with the paranormal, you spend your whole time trying to figure out the paranormal because nothing makes sense. With the supernatural, everything makes so much sense it's mind-blowing. Whereas the paranormal is confusing, the supernatural is so obvious and built around logic and physics and faith and all of that it can't be denied. You can't deny the supernatural, because a supernatural event is one that is like mind expanding, mind opening, mind blowing, and changes everything you thought you knew about God, creation, your existence, why you're here, evolution, the whole thing, how we're connected to the universe, all of it. Life after death, the afterlife, rebirth, reincarnation, like the whole thing. It changes. You can't. What it says, once the mind expands, it can never go back to its original size. And with the supernatural, it is just mind blowing, mind expanding, awe-struck, unbelievable, undeniable proof that there is something out there controlling all of it just by mastering your faith in it, mastering your faith in the unseen. But the thing is, he proves himself to you time and time and time and time and time again that it can't be denied. And I say he, but God isn't really a man or a woman. God is consciousness. The word God just means creator. And we are all the creators of our universe. We are the masters of our own universe. Our conscious mind is connected to the universe. We know this, it's a scientific fact. The universe thinks, the universe sings, communicates, hums, has feelings, all of it. It's all been documented, and it communicates with mammals and plants, and because we're all one. If we've got gases and minerals and vitamins and all of that within us, we all came from the one original life source, which is the atom. The creator of all things in the universe is the atom. And the Egyptians called atom God. creator. But it's so much bigger than anything normal people can comprehend. The only way you will ever understand it is if you have been chosen for an ascension. And you can't just decide to have one, and it's not something that's over and done within a few years. This is something that takes decades of self mastery and self reflection and self healing and um, even you have to be brutally honest with yourself, self deprecation. You've got to kick yourself up the butt for things that you've done, for the ways that you've acted in the past and things like that. You have to be brutally honest with yourself, because the only way you can walk in God's light is if you have a clean conscience and a pure body, a pure physical mindset. Otherwise, you can't withstand it. It's too much, and people are freaking out, looking at me and like trying to look at me under a microscope, thinking, "What is she?" I'm an ascended master. I'm an ascended being, and my glow and everything about me is because I walk in the power of God's light. Because my faith is unbreakable. My connection with my Father is undeniable now. And so I'm not an alien, and I do bleed, and my heart does break, and I have pain, and I eat and that just like everybody else. I'm just at my highest vibration. Even with what little I have, I'm at my highest vibration, because that is how strong my faith is in God. He will never put me through anything He doesn't promise to bring me out of. And now my job is what He wants me to do as His chosen one, is that He wants me to teach people how to survive the ascension experience. And when they're down in the underworld and that, to go and get them. But they only get offered once. I only go down to get them once. And if they choose not to come back up with me, I have to leave them there. Because I've got children to save. And once when I'm not being a soul collector, and being a soul collector as well isn't just taking the bad guys down there, it's also going down there to save ones that have been dragged down there. Because there are people that get dragged into the underworld because of, like my sons, for example. They don't have a choice but to be around all that dark toxicity and that, because I'm still trying to get justice to free them from it. They're around the pedophiles and the child abusers and all of that, because I'm still fighting to get free from it against the government and police force and that, who are protecting the pedophiles and the child abusers and stuff. But there are people that I have to go down to get, who have been dragged down there by no fault of their own, that I go down to save. Like my neighbour Liam, he was dragged down there and I went in to go and get him. So, it works both ways, but you have to be strong enough mentally, psychologically, physically, emotionally, because it changing frequencies like that takes a toll on the body, and you can only be around it for so long before it starts affecting you, because you literally have to lower your vibration to be around it. And when you're dealing with the underworld, you're dealing with some of the darkest people that are on the brink of going to hell and purgatory and all that. I write about it in Lucian's Dragon, where when Lucian has to go and confront Jeb the Goblin King, it's in the Shadowlands, and the Shadowlands is metaphoric for purgatory. It's basically where all the people are waiting to be judged before they stand on the scales in the underworld to decide whether they go to hell or they get to go to heaven, so to speak. So yeah, the Shadowlands and Lucian's Dragon with Jeb the Goblin King is it's symbolic of purgatory. It's where people go as they're descending before they are judged um, a sinner or a saint. So I'm just having my cacao. So well, saved or sentenced, because not everybody, they're not all saints that go up there. Only the children, only the absolute pure and innocent are given those kind of positions in heaven. But and I don't believe in heaven at all. I believe when we die, we return to the great consciousness, and then we decide what form we want to come back out as, depending on what we've earned the right to come back as. But if you get it right, like properly get it right, like hopefully I have this time, I will get to decide what I want to come back as. And when you get to choose your destiny, that's when you know you've passed the final test. When you get to choose your next life, when you actually get to have a say in what it is you want to come back as, if you want to come back at all, that's when you know you've passed the final test. Heaven and hell is what you make it. But I don't believe in heaven that way. I believe that you become part of the great consciousness of the universe. You become the all-knowing, all-seeing everything, and then, it gets weighed up and measured. And then it's like, well, you haven't done enough. You have to go back and you've got to learn this lesson and that lesson. And you're like, yeah, okay, then fine, I'll do that. And then, you come back and you got to get it right. Every time you come back, it's because you didn't get something right the last time. So you got to, keep doing it over and over again until you get it right. Well, this time, I think I've gotten it right. But everybody keeps throwing around this title, well, I'm the chosen one. This video that I follow, like, there's these people that are claiming my life and claiming my journey with a badge of honor, having zero idea of what the hell you have to actually go through to be a chosen one. And we're not all the same. I am the one. I am the one and only occult physicist, time jumping, quantum, like there is but me. There will never be another version of what I am other than through my bloodline. And the other ones will have their own things going on, and there's not a lot of us. There's really not a lot of us. There's not 144,000, that's for sure. Because if that was the case, they'd all be knocking on my doorstep saying, right, boss, let's go. What are we doing here? Where do we go from here? Because I'm the first. I was the first. So where I lead, the army is to follow. And there's no 144,000 turning up saying, right, boss, where do we go from here? Because they're not, how do I say this without sounding, they're not of my, not caliber, they're not of my, if they're looking at me, unable to figure out who I am and what I've gone through, they're not on my level. Frequency wise, understanding wise. It's only people that get me. It's only people that look at my work and look at what I do and go, oh, now I get it. They're the ones that I am to lead. And they're not here. So there's just me on my own, doing it on my own, waiting for everybody else to catch up. And when they do catch up, these are the people that I will be taking with me to go and work with me at the foundation. So do you get it now? God literally mentions the foundation in the book of Revelation. I hope people realise that. He literally calls it the foundation. And the people in the countries that will help me run these foundations, I'm aiming for 24, but I'll be happy with 12 depending. But yeah, the people who come to me, who work with me and for me, they're the 144,000, and they're not here yet. And you can't steal the foundation. You can't steal any of what I am. You can't fake or copy any of what I am, because God has an override system. And it either drives you insane or drives your life into the ground in a way that you'll never recover from it, to teach you a lesson that you can't rip an angel's wings off and tape them to your back and think that you can fly like an angel. And I'm not saying I'm an angel, I'm just using that as, you can't rip an angel's wings off, staple them to your back and expect to be able to fly and go around calling yourself an angel. And I'm not calling myself an angel, I'm using it as it's metaphoric. So all these people that claim ascension, that claim to be chosen, that claim to be the 144, and they're not in any way, shape or form. They're people who are depressed, lonely, have mediocre lives, have boring lives, who have found no purpose and meaning, who think that they can claim the title that I have earned, that is my badge, they are my war medals that I have earned, and they're trying to claim them having never fought one single battle. And a trial by fire is not the same as someone having a hard life, having difficult times. Like, it is nowhere near the same. Every year of your life, you're going to be battling something that damn near bloody kills you from the second you're conceived. And you have to fight to survive until you have mastered yourself and fully give yourself over to God in faith. Whoever God is to you, giving yourself over to that without fear. I am fearless, and I am brave, and I am strong, because God has proven every step of the way that He is here, and He has walked beside me this whole time, and He has never once let go of my hand. Even when I turned my back on Him, He was right there. And He has proven Himself time and time and time again, through the bits of the Bible that were true, through the physics that I was teaching myself, through the psychology and human behavior and all of that I was teaching myself. He has proven Himself time and time and time and time and time again, to the point where in the end I just said, I give up. I give myself over to you. I'm never ever going to question you again. As a scientist, I couldn't deny the existence of God and the strength and the power of His love, and His love for me gave me in return as faith, utter faith in Him. And that's why people look at me and think, like, she's glowing, she's weird, she's this, like trying to study me under a microscope. And it is literally, that's why I keep saying the supernatural is real. Ascensions are real, and they are a supernatural experience. And when you meet someone who's gone through an actual real ascension, people have to wipe their eyes because they can't believe what it is they're looking at. That's the power of God. That's how you know this is the real God, and not the God that we taught about in the Bible or in churches and that, because the real God is way cooler than anything any Bible could ever make Him out to be. And that's why I'm here. He put me through it because He knew I would be the one to turn it into a science. I would have to. I had to be the one to figure it out, because I was born needing to understand human behavior. I was born asking questions. I was born needing to know why. And I found the answers, and I turned it into a science, and now I'm turning it into an entertainment industry where I get to build foundations and bring the next generation in and teach them everything I know, so that they can take everything that I've taught them and bypass all the things that the previous generations had to go through as writers, artists, musicians, the creative minds of the world. They get to bypass all the depression and the angst and the self-harming and the addictions and, the mental illnesses, and that they'll get to bypass all of it because I'll be able to teach it all to them through my books and stories. And you wouldn't even know reading Lucian's Dragon. You wouldn't even know reading With a Little Help from My Friends. You wouldn't even know reading The Harvest Moon Goes Hunting or The Rise of the Dragon Queen. You wouldn't know reading or watching any of it that I am subtly teaching you about the ascension process and the difference between the underworld and the afterlife, heaven and hell, devils and demons and angels and saints and that. Like, you wouldn't even know. But you just know when you read it, you feel good. And it makes you feel better. And you feel happy and complete and at peace. And that's because you got to touch the light. And when you get to touch the light, when you get to experience that light, whether it's through me, which is why people are addicted to like my energy and my light in that, because they become obsessed with it, because they either want it for themselves or they want to contain it and hold it and keep it for themselves, which is why you end up being victims of narcissistic abuse and partners that gaslight you and all that, because they want to be the ones in control of who you are. And that's one of the biggest tests that you'll ever have, especially if you're like me and you're a romantic and you just, all you want to do is be a wife and get married and have kids and have the Christmas parties with the nice little dresses on and, that sort of thing, you are easy prey for the narcissist, for the abuser, for the one who either will pretend to love you in order to crush you, which is what my ex-husbands did, or become obsessed with you because they want to keep your light in a little box and not share it with anyone. But the only way they can do that is to get you to agree to get into the box, basically, with the gaslighting and the love bombing and, the Darvo stuff, the blaming you for things you haven't done so that you'll apologise, and they make themselves out to be the victim, and, you don't hear from them for days at a time and blah, blah, blah. It's all self, how they control you. But when I figured it out, I was like, no, I'm not going back to those sort of relationships now. I'm not going to be in a relationship with anyone who makes me go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days without hearing from them if I send them a text message. Like, why am I the one doing all the work? Like if it's not equal, if there's not equal reciprocity, I'm not interested. Go away. I'm not doing that anymore, because I know my worth. I know my worth now, because you learn this stuff when you're going through an ascension. So anybody who says they've ascended and that, that you have these symptoms of like flus and headaches and joint pains, that's not true. That's a spiritual awakening. An ascension is something altogether different. It is something on a supernatural level, not a physical level. It's just your body feels it after the fact and not during. A spiritual awakening is not the same as an ascension. You are chosen for an ascension. You are handpicked to be God's testimony that He is real, whereas a spiritual awakening is something you do on your own. You'll read a book and it sounds familiar, or, the person will be saying something that resonates with you, and so you'll learn a little bit more, and then, you'll change your diet. And whereas like an ascension, you're literally, you will be sitting there minding your own business one day, And then the next day, the next minute, you are thrown into the underworld with a force of which that will leave you stunned for at least 10 days. You can't move. You can't wrap your head around what the hell's just happened. And then slowly, you start rising. And the higher you rise, the more you see, the bigger your perspective is on what it is you've just come out of. And because you never, ever, ever, ever want to go down into the underworld ever again, you do everything you can to make sure you never go back in there. So, yeah, you only touch fire once with an ascension, whereas with spiritual awakenings, these people, like, how many, I can't even begin to tell you the amount of people, women I know that do yoga because it's peaceful and healing, blah, blah, blah. They're some of the most angriest, special princess, entitled, aggressive, impatient Karens you could ever possibly want to meet, and yet yoga's supposed to be something that's, helps you with your kundalini and all of that, awaken yourself and balance your energies and that. So, it's just unfortunately the spiritual industry is worth a lot of money, and a lot of people want to have the title of this, that, the other, and they've done absolutely nothing to earn the right. It's like these men that go around pretending like they served in like Afghanistan and Iraq, and they did tours and what they call it, false valor, fake valor, and they'll have like the uniforms and the medals and all that, and it's all fake. It's exactly the same with an ascension. So yeah, for all these people that are freaking out, obviously you've never met God. Obviously, you've never been introduced to the supernatural. Obviously, you don't know anything about ascensions or God. You might claim to be Christian, Catholic, Jewish, Muslim, whatever. You can claim to be it all. But if you're looking at me, scratching your head, trying to figure out what the hell I am and who the hell I am, that's because that your belief in God isn't real. Whatever it is that you believe that your God is false. Because when you have that experience with God, you glow. I always say devils and demons must reveal themselves in the presence of God. I draw out the darkness in a lot of people. I draw out their insanities and their psychosis and, their obsessions and their toxicity and their darkness, because my light draws them out like an anglerfish. And they think that I'm the prey when I'm actually the bait. So, because I'm a bounty hunter, so if you've got anything dark hidden inside of you that is a threat to mankind, of course you're going to be drawn to me. You'll be obsessed with me. Just long enough for you to raise your head out from under the sulphur, long enough for me to draw my sword and send you back down to hell. So, but for everybody else, well, I mean, I don't know, because I only deal with men that want me so much they want to hurt me, like crush it out of me, because they want me so much, like they want me dead. Like the obsession is, I need her so much, I'm gonna, like if my husband used to say, if I can't have you, nobody will, and he meant it, because clearly he tried to kill me. Or they want to have me to keep me and lock me up and not share my gift, which means then I can't do God's work. And who wants to be with a man who isn't going to let you fulfill your work with God? This is a deal that my ancestors had long before I was even conceived, that I was going to be the one who was chosen in my bloodline to pay off ancestral karmic debt and that, and to make peace and build bridges with people like King Charles, whose ancestors had a problem with my ancestors and my ancestors had a problem with his ancestors. But now I'm trying to help pay off a lot of that karmic debt with him. And any man who gets in the way of that, they would be sick in the head. Because who doesn't want world peace? Who is so jealous and possessive and messed in the head that they wouldn't want to share their woman with the world and save the world because they couldn't stand the thought of anybody else being in the same room with her, let alone her going off to, save kings and that sort of thing. What man is out there that looks at me and says, I love her so much, I need to protect her because she's something special in this world, and I'm going to make sure that nothing and no one comes near her to hurt her because she's got children to protect and she's got a world to help create and she's got something special to do, and I want to be the one to be there beside her while she does it. Who is that man? Can you introduce me to him? Because I'm just dealing with I only ever deal with time wasters and game players, and I don't have time, and I'm not gonna waste time. Do you know what I mean? I can love someone with every fibre of my being, but it doesn't mean that they're good for me or that we're going to be together, because it's like, when you're someone like me, it's supposed to be you. I'm supposed to have someone who is my equal, my masculine equal. And I've not many equals. It's always, they're the ones that have to have all the control. They're the ones that dictate how it goes, and that's not how I operate, and that's not how a divine relationship operates. I'm supposed to be with someone who's going to help me build an incredible empire that's going to save children for generations to come. And if there's no man that can step up to do that, to say, I'm going to be the man by your side, I'll pick up whatever tools I need, I'll use whatever skills I have to help you do this, because I believe in you so much, because I love God that much too. If that's not going to happen, then I'll just do it on my own, because then what will happen is God will give me the money and the investors to put all the right people in position to help me do what he was supposed to be doing anyway. Do you know what I mean? So I'll just do it on my own. I've done it on my own so far, even with the love of my life being right there. It's not going anywhere. I'm still waiting. And it's been so long now that it's like I don't have time anymore. The Starmer's government is about to be removed. There's a lot of presidents and prime ministers in this world that are about to be dethroned, and all new things are going to rise because of that. And I'm the one that wants to swaddle these children up and say, you come and sit in my foundation, you come and play in my fields, you come and smell my flowers, you come and do all this, while the grown-ups are opening the mines again, and starting the factories back up and fixing the roads and cleaning the waterways and all that. You come over here and I'll distract you while the grown-ups are doing all the things that they have to do to make your world a better place, while you're making movies and video games and TV shows and stuff. I'm like the ultimate babysitter. So So yeah, so it's kind of like as much and all as what I love, who I love. How do I explain it? I'm tired of doing all the work, and they're around things that I would never, or they're around people that I would never, ever, ever have near those children in any way, shape, or form. Energy rubs off like an STD, and every time he's around it, I feel it, and it's the biggest aversion for me. It makes me, I'm just hesitant. I'm very hesitant because I'm tired of doing all the work. It's me putting in the effort, and I've had too many relationships like that in the past where it's me putting in all the effort. So it's like I'm just gonna do me, and whatever happens, happens. So and that's, unfortunately, when you're an ascended being, when you're an ascension master, when you have ascended to your highest vibration, there is very little that you will tolerate in your relationships with people, whether platonic or romantic. There's very little you'll tolerate because been there, done that, same old, I'm not going there ever again, sort of thing. You can't go back to that way. And it's not to say that your relationships are perfect, because you're going to have your ups and downs, you're going to have your fights, you're going to have your little foibles and quabbles and stuff like that. But you're there together, you show up, you're there all day, every day, you're there. The contact is there, the connection is there, you're communicating. But when there is no communication, or it's intermittent and sporadic and almost like being drip fed, um, like in a gaslighting kind of way, every now and then, um, that's that's not healthy. And I refuse to be in an unhealthy, unequal relationship with anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. And that's what happens with an ascension, unfortunately. Um, you lose a lot of people in your life because you no longer tolerate second best, third best, fourth best. It's not perfectionism, it's not superiority, it's the highest level of self respect you could ever possibly have is by refusing to allow yourself to be around people who only give 5% while you give 100. I cut off so many people. I've got like 6 people on my phone now. I don't deal with anyone because I'm not gonna. You have no tolerance for it anymore. When you've survived all the things that I've survived, because of trusting the wrong people, or not being able to trust the people you're supposed to trust, and that sort of thing, when you come out the other side of it, an ascended master, you have very little tolerance for bullshit and time wasters and all of that. So yeah, so this is just, if you are going through an ascension and you're taking my advice and you're listening to everything I'm saying, you'll know what I'm talking about, because you'll be seeing it happening in your life as well. People will not be able to figure you out. They'll see the changes in you and think you're weird and something, like they won't be able to put their finger on what's changed with you. It's because when you step into the presence of God, it's supernatural, and the supernatural is mind blowing. Like mouth open, agog like, oh my God, what the hell did I just witness? God, that's the presence of God, the power of God is supernatural, and the supernatural is real, and I'm living proof. I'm a supernatural ascended master. My accuracy now is pinpoint because I get to sit in the frequency anytime I want now because I've ascended. And that's why people are freaking out about my glow and all of that, but it's an ascension glow. Decalcifies your pineal gland, activates your vagus nerve. You're right there with your father, and boy does he let you know he's there. And when you feel safe and protected like that, it gives you a strength and a faith that just becomes unbreakable. So, yeah, I just wanted to explain it all because I'm watching a lot of people online trying to claim my life as their own, or my titles as their own, or to wear my medals of honour. They're not out here trying to save France and Great Britain and Russia and Ukraine and, all of America, the Commonwealth, literally with their lives, having been poisoned and starved and tortured and sexually abused, all of it, like it's, yeah. You don't get to wear the medals if you didn't even sign up for the military. And these people are claiming the Purple Heart and the Medal of Honor and that, and they've never even, the closest they've come to serving in God's army is like maybe they went to a Salvation Army second-hand shop or something and bought like a jumper for winter. That's the closest they would have come to God's army. But they'll wear the medals and tell everybody that they're a chosen one and that they've ascended, and it's not true. The 144,000 will come to me, and then we will have the foundation that Father talks about in the book of Revelation, and I will build this empire for him, and we will take people into the new world and the new way of knowing him, so that we've built a safe environment for the second coming. And it's as simple as that. So anybody else out there like that, what's your name? Dorothy. I can't remember. Oh my God. She's got like hundreds of thousands of followers and people that look up to her. And she's going around telling people that their ascension symptoms are actually the effects of direct energy weapons that they're using over people's phones and stuff. Everything she's describing are the direct energy weapons that they use with the Schumann resonance. And then people going on about, have you seen this with the Schumann resonance of the planet and this readout this and this readout that, and it's like you have no idea that it's like they're swimming in the ocean surrounded by sharks getting ready to bite them, but they think if they close their eyes, nothing's there. They don't realise that they're surrounded by things that are killing them. And she's there, oh, what's this and it's then. I'm thinking, oh my God, the things that she tells people. And the people are falling for it hook, line and sinker. And that's why it's harder for people like me to get out there, because the real ones are shadow banned. The real ones aren't allowed to be given platforms and podiums and stadiums and that, because I'm public enemy number one to probably most of the Western world's leaders. Shadow banned, like my numbers get rolled back. Elon Musk constantly threatening to shut me down this and shut me down, make out like I'm violent and blah, 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 because they do not want what I am preaching, because they know that the second my name gets out there and the world knows my name, it's all over, because then nobody's going to fall for their lies and their bullshit anymore. Because God's truth is undeniable, and I stand in God's truth, which is why I glow. So I'm going to go now, and I will speak to you later. But yeah, just be careful with what you believe, and don't follow the crowd, please. Just don't be a sheeple, don't follow the crowd. Unfortunately, whether I like it or not, people like me are born to stand out, not blend in. We're not supposed to be like everybody else. We're supposed to stand on our own, because to stand on your own is to stand out, and it's the lighthouses that stand out. A lighthouse is undeniable when its light is on, and that's what ascended masters, that's what you are. After you have an ascension, you become a lighthouse. Undeniable. Whereas everybody else is the lights of Broadway. So I'm going to leave it at that. And I hope and I pray that the love of my life steps out of the dark and into the light. I keep praying. I just hope he catches up. Same with my king. I just hope they both jump into the light. Because I only just found them, and I don't want to have to lose them. I found a love for the royal family that I haven't had since I was a little girl. I've got books that my ex has got in his dungeon, because he refuses to let me have access to any of my possessions, that were given to me by my mother, that were books that she had when she was a little girl about the Queen and Princess Margaret, and that when they were little, and that. So, you know, and I've got Diana and Charles's wedding album book, and I've got teaspoons from when Diana and Charles were engaged, and when they got married, and when they had William, and all that I want to get back, and I want to have them proud. And even when I move to a different country, I'm going to fly the Union Jack in my house. I'll have the Kiwi flag and I'll have the Union Jack, because I'm proud of my king, and I don't care what anybody says. When Queen Elizabeth came to me when she was dying and I was dying, and I survived, and the codes started coming through, and I couldn't deny what she was telling me. As a scientist, I can't deny the facts, and as a woman of God, I can't lie. Having this relationship with her and trying to reach out to the king and Princess Anne coming and corroborating things I've been saying, and all the codes starting to make sense and stuff like that, it reminded me of how much I loved the royal family when I was a little girl. And then Queen Victoria coming in that dream was like a dream come true. I didn't know that I wanted to have as a dream come true. And then that dream changed everything for me, and now I'm even more determined to save my king. I will fight for him. If I have to go down to London and stand in front of Buckingham Palace and fight the police, and, you know, fight whoever's trying to get through those gates, I'll do it. And if it kills me, then I've died defending my king. Just like my dad when he was going off for his queen, and all these soldiers and that were proud to go off and fight for their king and their queen, and that I'd be exactly the same, because I'm not afraid. I've died so many times now that it doesn't scare me. I am death. I know what happens. I know what's going to happen. But if I'm going to die standing, not living on my knees, and I will die defending the Union Jack, King Charles, the royal family, and my Queen Liz, my Queen Elizabeth. And I'll go down fighting hard. Like Gandalf, sword in one hand, staff in the other. You shall not pass. And that's just how it's going to be. So, you know, Starmer can have whatever he's got planned. Macron can have planned. Trump, they can, whatever it is they've got planned, it's not going to work. And I can tell you that now, they will fail. They are failing. Everything that they're trying to do now is because they're desperately trying to cling on to power when they know that they're circling the drain, being flushed into the sewers. But in the meantime, until the king makes that call to get rid of Starmer, I'll do everything I can to defend him. And every day I will get up and I will message him, trying to wake him up and keep praying that he wakes up and makes that phone call, which I know he will do. I know he makes the phone call. And then I know there's going to be a massive celebration. And then he will finally get to have a reign where he gets to be respected instead of abused and bullied and called names and treated like crap, because he's doing the one thing that he was supposed to do, and that was trust his government and his military and his police. He was doing what he was supposed to do, not realising that the people that were supposed to have his back were the people trying to take him down. But that's why I'm trying to wake him up. So, yeah. So at this point, I just don't care. I'll go and fight for Russia. I'll go and stand and defend Russia and Vladimir and defend the king. I will stand at the Eiffel Tower and defend Marine Le Pen. Anything to take those demons and devils down to hell, to make them finally have to pay for everything that they've put the world through. And if they touch my king and they touch Russia, then there will be a nuclear bomb of rage and wrath coming out of the heavens that will shake the ground for 1,000 years, I can promise you that. So I'm going to go now, and I shall speak to you later. Ka kite anō. Mwah.